The wind howled outside as snow blanketed the streets of the quiet suburban neighborhood. Inside her warm apartment, Lily Harper had just curled up on the couch, a soft fleece blanket wrapped around her legs, a half-finished romance novel in hand, and a mug of chamomile tea steaming beside her. The week had been exhausting, tight deadlines, endless emails, and another cold reminder that the holidays were coming, and she'd be spending them alone. She sighed, allowing herself a moment of peace, when a sudden, sharp knock at the door broke the silence. She sat up, startled. No one ever visited her unannounced, especially not in the middle of a snowstorm. Cautiously, she moved to the door, peeking through the peephole. A man stood there, bundled in a dark coat, his hair dusted with snowflakes. Beside him was a little girl, no older than 5, clinging to his leg, her cheeks flushed pink from the cold. Lily hesitated before opening the door a few inches. "Yes?" she asked, guarded but polite. The man looked apologetic, concern etched across his handsome but tired face. "I'm really sorry to bother you," he said, his voice deep and calm, "but our car broke down just up the street. My phone's nearly dead, the tow truck said they can't come until morning, and it's freezing out here. I just need somewhere warm for my daughter to rest for the night." Lily's eyes flicked to the girl, who was clearly shivering despite being wrapped in a blanket. Her small eyes looked up at Lily, wide and silently pleading. Lily's first instinct was caution. After all, this was a stranger at her door. But something about him, the way he held the child close, the gentle way he spoke, felt sincere. And the storm outside was only getting worse. She opened the door wider. "You can come in," she said softly. "Just for one night." Relief washed over his face. "Thank you, really." Inside, Lily handed the man a towel for his wet boots and brought out a pair of her brother's old sweatpants and a hoodie from a storage box. For the little girl, she found some of her niece's old pajamas, pink, with tiny cartoon clouds. They sat in the living room, wrapped in fresh blankets as Lily heated up cocoa on the stove. "I'm Lily," she said, handing mugs to her guests. "Ben," the man replied. "And this sleepy lady is Sophie." Sophie offered a shy wave, then sipped her cocoa like it was the best thing she'd ever tasted. They talked a little. Ben didn't give too many details, just that he was in town for work, starting fresh, and had been on the road when the snow hit harder than expected. Lily didn't pry. Instead, she told Sophie a silly story about a magical snowman, which made the little girl giggle and crawl closer. Before long, they built a pillow fort in the corner of the room. Lily lit a few candles as the lights flickered from the storm. Sophie nestled under the cushions, her head resting on Lily's lap as Ben watched quietly, something warm and unreadable in his expression. It wasn't much, a small act of kindness, a warm home on a cold night. Lily had no idea that the man who now lay asleep on her living room floor, with his daughter snuggled beside him, wasn't just a stranded traveler. The sun rose sluggishly over the city, its light dimmed by the heavy clouds still lingering from the storm. Lily Harper stepped out of the elevator into the marble-floored lobby of EverDesign Inc., her company's headquarters, just like she had every other weekday for the past 3 years. She sipped her lukewarm coffee and clutched her notepad, her mind already running through the day's tasks, finish the presentation for the Johnson project, reschedule her one-on-one with Mark from marketing, and maybe, if she was lucky, get a chance to breathe before lunch. The snowstorm had caused chaos throughout the city, and people trickled into the building slower than usual, shaking snow from coats and boots. But Lily felt strangely lighter today, despite the cold. Maybe it was because of last night, helping a stranger and his sweet little girl. She hadn't done anything special, she told herself, but somehow it had felt different. Human. She stepped into the 9 a.m. emergency staff meeting, thinking it would be a quick announcement about delayed projects or a weather policy update. The conference room buzzed with more chatter than usual. Everyone looked slightly more polished, alert. Some of the department heads wore forced smiles, and the HR director, Angela, had her, serious but fake chipper, face on, never a good sign. Lily took her usual spot at the side of the long table. Her friend and colleague Jenna leaned over and whispered, "Rumor is the new CEO's arriving today. Maybe even right now." Lily blinked. "Wait, we're getting a new CEO today." Jenna raised an eyebrow. "You didn't check your email." Lily opened her mouth to respond, but Angela clapped her hands to get everyone's attention. "Good morning, everyone," she said, her voice warm but precise. "Thank you for making it in despite the storm. Today is an exciting day for EverDesign. As most of you know, we've undergone leadership changes over the past few weeks. But now, we're thrilled to introduce the new face of our company, a leader with vision, compassion, and a wealth of experience in corporate transformation. Lily barely listened. She was already thinking about how this change might affect her department, whether new management would mean new layoffs or reshuffling. And now, Angela continued, please join me in welcoming Mr. Benjamin Carter, the new CEO of EverDesign Inc. Applause broke out. Lily turned her head toward the entrance, and froze. There he was, the same man who had knocked on her door in the snowstorm, whose daughter had built a pillow fort in her living room just 36 hours earlier. The same man she had handed cocoa to and lent her brother's sweatshirt. Benjamin Carter. He walked in confidently, dressed in a navy suit, his presence calm and commanding. No trace of the humble, quiet stranger from her living room. He moved like someone used to being in charge, like someone who knew exactly where he belonged. Her breath caught as their eyes met. He didn't flinch, didn't pretend not to recognize her. Instead, his lips curled into the faintest smile, one only she seemed to notice. Good morning, he began, his voice familiar but now layered with something official. I'm honored to be stepping into this role at EverDesign. I believe in the power of good design, and even more, in the people behind it. Lily sat stone still, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. The man she'd let into her home wasn't just some stranded traveler. He was Benjamin Carter, the new head of the company, the man whose decisions could shape her career, or end it. As he continued speaking, she barely heard the words. She felt every look in the room, every glance from coworkers curious about why the CEO had smiled directly at her. Lily's mind raced. Had she said anything stupid? Had she looked ridiculous in those pajamas? Was he going to pretend nothing happened? Or worse, was he going to act like it meant something? By the end of the meeting, one thing was clear. Lily's world had just turned upside down.